Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Okay, good to hear. So, for today's video, finally, we are in our chapter 14 Global Migration. And for my topic, we are going to talk about just the basic concepts of migration. Okay? So, before anything else, let's have our learning objectives for today's discussion. Our first objective is to define and explain the basic concept of migration. The second one is to identify the types of migration. And the last one is to understand the impacts of migration on people and society. By the way, my name is Adonai Shalom S. Katamko. Okay, right now, I am showing you an examples of internal and international migration. So in these pictures, you are going to identify whether the picture represents internal migration or international migration. So you are going to answer that within 5 seconds. So your 5 seconds starts now. Okay, so let's answer this activity. So the first one is family moves to the city. So for the first picture, what is your answer? Okay, internal migration is correct. Why? Okay, later on we are going to discuss and why is that an example of internal migration. And the picture number 2, student goes to study in the USA. So it is an example of what? International migration. So that is correct. Now, let's move on into our proper discussion and let's have the definition for migration. Okay, migration is the movement of people from one place to another with the intention of settling temporarily or permanently in a new location. So, the key words for migration is the movement of people from one place to another. Okay, just remember that. So, no matter what are their intentions of moving from one place to another, whether they will settle there temporarily or permanently. But that is migration. Okay? So next, we are going to discuss the types of migration. Now let's move on to the types of migration. So let's have the first one, the internal migration. For the internal migration, it says that it is a movement within a country, such as rural to urban migration, meaning the internal migration happens within our country alone, okay? Within our country alone, whether it's rural to urban, okay? That is the internal migration. Internal migration. The next type of migration is the international migration. So it is a movement across countries, such as moving from, for example, from the Philippines to the USA for work. So that is the international migration, meaning movement across countries to countries. So that is international migration again. So next is we have the voluntary migration. Voluntary migration. So people choose to move for better opportunities. So let's say, for example, OFW. So that is a type of or an example of voluntary migration because OFW choose to go to other places to find a better opportunities there, right? And to have higher income. Okay. Next is the last one is the forced migration or involuntary migration. It is people are compelled to move due to conflict, persecutions, or disasters. Let's say, for example, war, right? So, of course, when there is war in your place, you have to go to another places to find a safer place to find comfort, right? So you have to move to another places for your safety. Okay, and also let's talk about the impacts of migration. So, first one is it has an impact on our economic. So, it can fill labor shortages or create remittances for home countries. So, meaning um, migration can help the economy, which is right. So, when we say shortages, if a country leads or needs more workers in factories, farms, or maybe in hospitals, of course the migrants the can fill the job, right? These jobs, right? So that is an example. And remittances, let's say for example, when people move abroad, right? Abroad for work like OFW, they often send money back to their home countries, right? To support their families. And this money helps their home country's economy as well. Next is we have the next impact for migration is social and cultural. So it has an impact in our social and cultural aspect. So it leads to cultural exchange but may also cause social tension. Okay, why is that? So, meaning migration changes the way people live and interact. There are positive and negative sides of migration in our social and cultural aspect. So the positive impact for migration is it has cultural exchange, right? So people bring their traditions, their food, like say for example, food, language, festivals, and for example, a Filipino moving to Canada might celebrate Filipino festivals there, right? So they sharing their culture. The negative side is that it has social tension. Why? Okay, sometimes differences in culture or competition leads to uh, misunderstandings or conflicts in the community. Okay, and the last impact of migration in our uh, country, it is demographic alters population distribution and urbanization patterns. Okay, meaning migration changes the population numbers and where people live, right? So the example for urbanization is if many people move from villages to cities, the cities grow bigger and rural areas may have fewer people. That is urbanization. And for population distribution, let's say for example, some of the countries might have lots of young workers coming in. So changing the age or workforce structure. Okay, I think that's it for our discussion for today. And in conclusion, migration is the movement of people from one place to another, either within a country or across borders. It shapes societies in many ways, economically by providing labor and remittances, socially and culturally by sharing traditions, and demographically by changing population patterns. Understanding migration helps us appreciate why people move and how these movements affect communities around the world. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope everyone understand our discussion for today. Bye.